I would imagine tattooing someone's ass would be uncomfortable. And he even said to me, he's like, "Oh, how close do you want me to go to your asshole?" And I was like, "Oh man, just like as close as you're comfortable with." And he was like, "All right." He must have been comfortable because I swear to God, man, like I could feel the needle. Oh, so bad. G'day, my name's Marcus, 30 years old from Brisbane, Australia, and this is my interview with Grey Wash. Gotta.
This is going in the cuts, huh? All right. What was your first introduction to the tattoo world?
I think my granddad, he was in the Air Force back in the 70s, and he had little like military sticker tattoos all over him, traditional style. Him and just cousins and aunties were just had all little tattoos, and that's when I was first introduced, and it sort of blew up from there as my interest kept going.
Right, so family members, right?
Yeah.
So then, what pushed you to get your first tattoo?
Um, I was in the Brisbane hardcore scene back in the day, and I went to a concert called Sweatfest. The lead band was Parkway Drive, but the band before them was a band called Suicide Silence from the US. And the guy came out, the lead singer, and his name was Mitch Lucker, and he was covered from pretty much where I am, hands, arms, on his neck. And as soon as he walked out and started singing, I was like, fuck, that's cool, he looks sick. And from there it just like kept going. I was like planning my tattoos. I was gonna become a tattoo artist, that's what I wanted to be. I went to nearly every tattoo shop in Brisbane and got turned down, unfortunately. It's not because my artwork wasn't good, it was just at that time of everyone getting tattooed, it was just like it was too popular that they weren't just going to accept anyone.
So you tried to become a tattoo artist yourself,
Yeah.
right? So how many studio did you go to and like try to get
I think
an apprenticeship?
I think I was working on my art from I was 16.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then as soon as I left school, I was going to tattoo shops, and I did end up working at a tattoo shop in Mount Tamborine a few years ago. I was just helping out a mate. I wasn't doing tattoos. I was just helping him run the shop because he was going through a bit of a rough patch, and I was just mopping the floors, helping him out with his emails and whatnot.
Right. So obviously you are heavily tattooed,
Yeah.
and so what was the motivation behind getting like that much tattooed? Is it because you saw those people, you're like, oh, this looks sick, so I want to do
Yeah.
the same?
So the hardcore scene in Brisbane back in the day, everyone was getting tattooed. Like, everyone. And me being me, I was like, I want to get more tattoos than them. And yeah, so I think my first tattoo was my hand. Oh no, I did my own first tattoo. I bought a tattoo gun off some dodgy website from China, and I did those letters there, MNR, which was my old mosh crew back in the day when we used to go to local hardcore shows and just mosh, and did that, and then I got my hand done professionally and just started working everywhere.
Right. So it leads to my next question actually. Um, what was did you the step behind getting the artwork? Like, because now you said you started with the hand and you started from the hand and going up.
Yeah.
Because you like usually people might take like try to do something that's more hidden,
Yeah.
you know, but you went straight up for the hands, the
Yeah.
thing you can't hide.
Yeah. I think just because, I don't know, no one really, like there was people with their hands done, but they were already fully tattooed, and I was just like, I'll just do it the opposite. I don't know. I thought I was cool back then.
So, can you talk to me about like the imagery and the meaning behind the art that you have collected through the years?
Well, the artwork that I liked was mainly Japanese, and it sort of stemmed from skateboards. So skateboard designs were my thing. Like I love skating, that whole area, and the artwork that you'd see on these decks, I was like, oh, that'd look really cool as tattoos. So it caught my eye because I'm Filipino. I was like, I need some sort of Oriental style, but I mixed Oriental with like traditional but new style, new colors, more vibrant.
Yeah, really good, really good. What was the planning process in getting your current artwork?
I've always been very particular on who I got my artwork from. Um, when I was 18, that's 12 years ago now. We didn't really, Instagram wasn't as big. Uh, some artists use Facebook and whatnot, but the research that I had to do was I knew exactly what I wanted and how I wanted it, what style I wanted it, and I would find the artist that was capable of doing that. So my leg sleeve that I got in Thailand, I spent a whole year before I even went to Thailand researching who I wanted to get done by, and he was the only person I found in that area I was staying that could do what I wanted with the quality I wanted. Because think that if you're going to get something on your body, you want it done perfectly.
How much input did you have? How much did the input did the artist have?
So I like the artists to have as much freedom as possible because I feel like they work best when they're comfortable. Like, so for my chest that I'm currently working on, I sent him a photo of Medusa with all the snakes looking out to the side, and I told him I just want a Japanese style demon with two hanyas looking out the side. And then he said, do you want an Oni demon or just a specific demon? And I just said, man, do whatever you reckon looks cool. And it was only meant to be the chest, but he went all the way down to my belly.
Awesome. Which area of the body was the most painful to
Throat.
tattoo? Throat?
Throat. Throat. I got a solid black elbow. That sucked. And my feet. Man, the tops of my feet were terrible.
Terrible. Out of all your tattoos, do you have one that hold a special meaning to you? The one that is the most meaningful?
Both my arms are fit, like different flowers represent different people. The Buddha is meant to be me looking over the flowers, which are my family, and I've got my granddad's gun from Vietnam. Just like he was the protector of our family, so like me watching over the protector, like protecting the family sort of thing. Yeah, and then this is like pretty much dedicated to my nana who passed away of a rare cancer. So I've got the burning house, and I've got an owl with the letter C carved into its forehead, representing cancer. And then the owl's holding a burnt matchstick as if he lit the house on fire. So it's like cancer fucks your household. And then I got my left leg was pretty much just, I was like, man, just Japanese, Chinese, everything Asian, just mix it in. Like it, I just wanted to flow with the body as Oriental tattoos do really well. So I did that. And my right leg is for my one true love, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, so that's pretty much all Lord of the Rings on my right leg, just creatures and characters. It's still not finished, but when it is, it's gonna be sick.
Love it, love it. Um, can you name some of the artists that tattoo you, and what's your relationship now with them?
Christian Jacobson, he did my throat, the back of my head, some of my Lord of the Rings sleeve. I used to work for him. Yeah, he was. Me and him were like brothers. Unfortunately, he was going through some rough times. Had to step away, let him sort himself out a bit, which he did. His back tattooing, and it's amazing work. Like, I think that he's honestly one of the best tattooists in Australia. Um, my other leg is Mr. Durst in Thailand, Pattaya, Thailand. He We became really good friends just from me traveling over there so much for Muay Thai. I'd just go to the shop and we'd just hang out. He'd ask me design questions and be like, "Oh, does that look cool?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's sick." Sam Hillcoat, who finished that leg, he tattooed my ass and the back of my leg. Sam's a really good dude. I would imagine tattooing someone's ass would be uncomfortable, and he even said to me, he's like, "Oh, how close do you want me to go to your asshole?" And I was like, "Oh man, just like as close as you're comfortable with." And he was like, "All right." He must have been comfortable, because I swear to God, man, like I could feel the needles. Oh, so bad. Um, Nate Kennedy from down the Gold Coast. He did he did all the like neo-trad work on my leg and my arm. Tristan Treneman, who's another friend of mine, I went to his going away party, and I got really, really hammered. And then the day after, he was tattooing my arm, and he was spraying the alcohol spray, and I was like gagging. He was like bringing up the night before. I was like, no. Lai Alistair, Pablo Tobias from PMP in the Philippines. Yeah, Alex Bock, who's working on this, he's a genius. He's so sick. Ryan Parsons, who started this sleeve, my first big tattoo. He was a good dude. We were tattooing at his house because it was when the VLAD laws came in for Queensland, the bikie laws, and he was being investigated because of where he did his apprenticeship. So we were tattooing out of his house. That was cool though. Yeah, I think that's it. A
Awesome.
few more little people in Thailand did my face and my ears and stuff.
Awesome. How do your tattoos influence your social life?
Um, Not too bad with my social life. Like a few of my friends are heavily tattooed, a few aren't. Like, I sort of feel like I'm a chameleon where I can sort of fit in anywhere. Obviously some people judge me straight away, but then they talk to me for 30 seconds and realise I'm not a asshole. So it's not too bad. Some people already have their minds made up, especially like shop clerks. Yeah, people at bars, just like sort of thing. They just, yeah.
Yeah, you can't look like a criminal with that smile, man.
Yeah.
Because we know that, like quite recently, we have seen episodes of people getting stopped to like enter, a pub or a club because of like a neck tattoo, face tattoo, or like and like tattoos on the hands.
Yeah.
So have you ever had any negative experience because of
Yeah.
your tattoos?
Most places in the valley I can't get in because of the back of my head. Um, when I had my hands done, it was fine. When I got the swords on my face, some places would not let me in. Some would. Down the coast is impossible. I can get into the casino. That's about it.
What sort of advice would you give someone that sees you and want to get something similar like? Because obviously, um, like this type of tattoos, you earn it. It's not like you can't just wake up one day and be that heavily tattooed, right? But you know, like your younger self that seeing this guy on the scene, on the stage, and like, oh my god, this guy looks so sick. Like, I want to look like him. Like, if someone was seeing you, like a young kid, and wanted to do something similar as you, like, what would be your advice?
um, I wouldn't even say wait till you're 18. I'd say wait till you're 21, because the plans I had from when I was 16 to when I was 21 are completely different. And research. I never went into a place and just was like, oh, who can do this? I knew who I wanted to get tattooed by. I did my research. Even in Thailand, I didn't go for a year. I was planning my Thailand trip for a year. It took me a year to find who I wanted to go to. They've even got this place in where I stay in Thailand. It's called Art Street, and the whole street is tattoo shops. I went into every single one before I went into the one that I knew I wanted to go to, and immediately I knew by by going to his shop that's I was going to get tattooed by him because of the smell. I went into every single one and they smelled normal, like just normal, but I went into his and it smelled like a tattoo shop. There's that proper smell when you walk in. It's sanitary, it's clean, and yeah, that's immediate. I was like, oh, this is it.
That's awesome. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like to share because it has some meaning or maybe just because it's funny or whatever?
Like tattoo wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Brisbane Queen like BNE QLD on my thumbs. I regret that, just because no one needs to know where I'm from. Yeah, I got a straight razor on my left hand because every Thursday I'd shave my head with shaving cream and a razor. And when I decided to stop doing that, I was like, I'm gonna get a tattoo of it. I don't know why, but so stupid. Nah, all my tattoos are like, yeah, I don't really. Besides those, none of them really silly. I got a Lord of the Rings sword on my face. That's, I don't know if some people think that's silly. I got a traditional Filipino sword on the other side, which was the sword that decapitated the Spanish invaders to prove to the Filipino locals that the Spanish weren't gods, that they were still human. And yeah, one of the village chiefs decapitated one of the Spaniards and was like, they're just human. And I just thought that was a cool story, so I was like, I'm gonna get that sword tattooed on my face. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, so earlier you mentioned you were trying to become a tattoo artist yourself, but it didn't happen. Is there like other art form that you enjoy or you are into?
Yeah, so with the Lord of the Rings, I'm also a massive Warhammer nerd. If you don't know what Warhammer is, I build little figures about that big and paint them up to the best standard I can. Warhammer is it's a whole story of there's just so much lore that like the Lord of the Rings movies are that big. The actual story is this big. Warhammer is endless, and it's just war, and it's so nerdy.
So you're a tattooed nerd.
Yeah, pretty much. If I'm not at work, I'm at the gym. If I'm not at the gym, I'm at home painting little spacemen or orcs or goblins, or reading ridiculous stories of fantasy and fairy tale.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No worries.